So today we'll start lecture 18 on our helicopter dynamics course. This is going to be about blade lag motion. I'm Dr. Ranjan Ganguly. Now in the previous lecture we studied flap motion, that was the out of plane motion of the blade. Now today we are going to look at lag or in plane motion of the helicopter rotor blade. This is a key characteristic of helicopter rotor blades. And as I mentioned before, this lag or in-plane motion is created so that the bending moments which act in that particular direction are mitigated through either the placement of the hinge or the flexure. So we will take the hinge offset to be E here, and this need not be same as the offset which is there for the flap hinge. So later when we will consider multiple degrees of motion, we are going to use E subscript zeta, E subscript beta, and so on. But right now, let us just presume that this is a pure lag motion and therefore the hinge offset is E. So this is a schematic of the rotor blade in the lag direction. So you clearly see this is the direction of rotation. The distance from the root to this point where there is a mass is R, and this distance is X. This angle is zeta, which is the degree of freedom known as lag, and E is the offset or the distance from the rotation point to the hinge. So this is where the hinge is located, and so the blade lag motion moves like this. So we are going to derive the equation of motion for this particular lag direction. Now this small piece has length d of r, and the mass per unit length of this blade is m. So three forces are going to act on this particular blade section. So they are going to be the centrifugal force, which directly has a line going from the axis of rotation, the aerodynamic force, which is in this direction. Largely it will be dominated by the drag component of the force, and then you have the inertia force, which is in the reverse direction to the direction x here. So let's look at each of these forces and try to get mathematical expressions for each of these forces. So let's start with the IF. So here this is going to be mx double dot dr, because this is the direction of x, so reverse direction is mx double dot dr, the inertia force. And now you can clearly see that x is going to be r minus e into zeta. So r minus e is the distance from the hinge to this point here, and you multiply it by zeta, you differentiate it twice, you get the zeta double dot term here. So that's the inertia force, m r minus e zeta double dot dr, and the arm at the lag hinge is going to be r minus e, because that's this distance r minus e here. Fine. Next, let's get to the centrifugal force. So centrifugal force is going to be the mass of this particular section, that is mdr, into the distance from the rotation center or axis r into rotation speed square. So mr rotation speed square into dr is the centrifugal force, and it acts in this path. Now if we look at the arm, it's going to be this small distance here, and to get this distance, presuming all are small angles, what we can do is we can think of the tan of this angle here, okay, and that's going to be x by r, okay. Tan of this angle is also this distance by e. So using these two facts, we can clearly see that this arm is going to be E by r into x. That's the moment arm of the centrifugal force. Now we come to the AF, and this force acts in this direction here. Like I mentioned, it's predominantly generated by drag, so it's going to act in this direction. Now this force has an arm of r minus zeta, which is again the distance from the hinge to this point here. Finally, we have a spring moment, and the spring moment is simply k zeta into zeta, where k zeta is the bending spring corresponding to the lag direction. So now to recapitulate, we have all these four forces. What we are going to do is we are going to take these forces, we are going to take the moment at the lag hinge, and then we are going to sum this on the complete blade. So let's do that here. We get this equation. So the first term is coming from the inertia force, that you have the zeta double dot. The second term comes from the centrifugal force, and in each case you are seeing that I have taken the force component like the centrifugal force and I have multiplied it by the moment arm component. You have the component by the fluid dynamic forces, and then you have the spring moment. Now these forces being calculated on that small mass mdr, or the portion dr, we have to integrate them from E to R. So we take the moment at the lag hinge, and naturally because it's a hinge the moment is going to be 0, so we set this entire thing equal to 0. So next thing we are going to do is we are going to try to simplify these expressions by bringing some of these things into an integral sign and then seeing that these are some of the properties corresponding to the particular blade. So for example, I zeta can be defined as e to r of m r minus e squared dr. Now with this definition, this term becomes I zeta, so you get the zeta double dot term here. Similarly, we are going to get the stiffness term, and that's going to come from zeta here and zeta here. So there's going to be a one component of the stiffness coming from centrifugal force and the second component coming from the lag stiffness. And this term, it has no zeta or zeta double dot, so it's moved to the right hand side. So once we do that, this is our equation here. And here also we have done the transformation from the dot system to the star system. Okay, remember dot is with respect to time, star is with respect to psi. So having done that, I get this much more compact looking equation here. So this is the zeta star star term into I zeta, and we have collected the term here due to centrifugal force and k zeta, and we have created the non-dimensional lag frequency term nu zeta square. And this of course is our forcing function coming from the fluid dynamics forces, F zeta. So let us take a close look at the lag frequency. Like I mentioned before, the lag frequency has two components. One component is coming from the spring, that's the k zeta term. The second component is essentially coming from the rotation speed, and it is created by the presence of the offset from the root for the lag hinge, so it's dependent on E. So this we can say is the non-rotating natural frequency. This is a centrifugal spring type of term. So we can write this in a more compact form if we see that these two can be written in a shorter or more compact notation. So S zeta is the first moment of mass, and that is simply E to R m r minus E dr. And I zeta, of course, you know, is the m r minus E squared dr term which we introduced previously. So using the first as second moment, this is the general equation you can get for the non-dimensional lag frequency. So a much more compact solution is obtained for uniform blade. In general, blades are not uniform, but you can get these solutions and they give us some insight into the physics of the problem. So S zeta is given here, I zeta is given here. You divide these expressions and you obtain the lag frequency in per rev as this expression here. Now Of course, as you know, this is the spring part, this is the centrifugal stiffness part, this is totally dependent on E. Now, in some cases, if E is small, which it typically is, then this may become simply 3E by 2R. So let's look at some extreme case scenarios from this equation. So if you have an articulated rotor with no offset hinge and no spring, then nu zeta equal to 0, which is not a good thing. So therefore, typically you would find some offset being present for the lag hinge or a lag spring being present, if not both. Now, if we were to have no spring, we would typically get nu zeta square as 3e by 2r, as I mentioned before, because e is typically small. So we can replace the r minus e in the denominator by r. Let's look at some possible values of the lag frequency. Typically, for articulated rotors, lag frequencies range from 0.2 to 0.3 per rev, and for soft in-plane hingeless rotors, they range from 0.65 to 0.8 per rev. Now, generally, we want to stay off from the region which is close to the rotation speed in the lag direction, because the lag motion is in the same direction as the rotation speed. And so if you get too close to the rotation speed, you are going to encounter resonance type of conditions and excessive blade loads. Now, as far as hingeless rotors are concerned, there are two types. The widespread one is the soft in-plane rotor, in which nu zeta is typically less than 1 per rev, or dimensionally it would be less than rotation speed. And stiff in-plane rotors, here nu zeta is greater than the rotation speed. So these are the two types of hingeless rotors. They have very different properties as far as stability and particularly air resonance is concerned. Now, stiff in-plane rotors typically would have frequencies from 1.4 to 1.8 per rev. Now, you should get familiar with this per rev notation because rotor dynamicists widely use it, but sometimes they also, like I have here, switch to the actual rotation speed in many scenarios. So you should be familiar with both. It's just the same thing. It's just talking about this in different ways. So I will end this lecture on lag frequency and lag motion here. You saw that in contrast to the flap motion here, the typical frequencies are much lesser. The centrifugal stiffening is there, but it is much lesser than for flap. And in the next lecture, I'm going to discuss the pitch motion, which is the third motion present in a simple model of a rotor blade. See you then.